I don't like it very much at all. I don't. I think it's a bad deal, and I'm sad to say that. I would love to be able to say that they've enhanced the Atlantic Accord from what I signed, but that's not the case.
What don't you like about this deal?
The first thing I think that any Newfoundlander or Labradorian reading this deal would say, "What? Not another fixed term? Here we have a fixed term of 37 years, out to 2057. That, right away, is a red flag. No reopeners, no nothing. So that if the price of oil goes up in the future, we don't get any extra for that. If the federal government makes more money through their 8% interest in Hibernia, we don't get any of that extra money. Ours is fixed for all time until the agreement is over in 2057. That's a bad deal.
And a lot can happen between now and 2057. Who knows what the landscape will be like?
Well, you know, if there's a war in the Middle East or there's more disruptions in Venezuela or whatever around the world, the price of oil could go up. What we should have negotiated was a floor where we couldn't get less, but we had the opportunity to get more if the federal government got more. That seems to be fair.
Mm-hmm. And you say that any Newfoundlander and Labrador looking at this deal and seeing this fixed term, would shake their heads. Why are we so sensitive about that?
Because we lost so much on the Upper Churchill by signing a fixed deal. Every independent analysis has shown that we are losing on the Upper Churchill anywhere from $500 to $1 billion a year in economic rent because we signed a fixed deal with no reopeners. That's the reason.
So when you look at this deal, do you see the Upper Churchill deal? You see similarities between the two?
When there's a fixed deal with no reopeners so that you have no upside, then that looks very much like the haunting Upper Churchill, which we've been living with ever since as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians.
How does this deal, do you think, compare to the deal that Danny Williams signed?
Well, Williams tried to get it enhanced. So in that context, what Williams signed was better than what Ball has signed. There's no question about it. I mean, and the federal government has an election too, so it was in their own two best interests to try to get this thing off the table. Remember, latest polls show that the Liberals in Ottawa are starting to lose in Atlantic Canada because of the SNC-Lavalin thing. So I think it was in the Fed's best interest and the province having the election to their best interest. So politics played too big a role in this.
Mm-hmm. Can you take me back to that day in 1985 when you signed the deal? What were your hopes for the future then?
I thought that, if anything, in the future, because we had produced such a really good base from which to negotiate, we could enhance the accord, not try to be on the defensive and just keep what we got. Just imagine the Premier of Newfoundland saying yesterday, and we're still going to get all the revenues or all the royalties. Oh, did you think about that we weren't going to get them? Were you willing to even consider us not getting them? So we're on the defensive all the time.
This deal seems to have gotten you pretty riled up. Would you agree?
Absolutely. This gets me really, really riled up. And because we work so hard on getting in there that oil must be treated the same as it's on land, that today we are a half province only because of that oil revenue, almost $1 billion last year. We would be a have-not province over and over again if we didn't have those oil revenues. So my argument is this. If we can do it once, can't we do it twice? Can't we improve upon it over time? Don't be defensive. Go on the offensive and try to improve the accord over what was signed. Not be defensive and bring other things into it. That's what really upsets me.